Well, my name is Paula, first of all. I'm a cybersecurity analyst. I work in Madrid. Basically, I'm a hacker, but like legally hacker. But today I'm here to speak more about general technology and our responsibility with technology and society. So you might be wondering right now, so what does have to do Let's Be Kids with like responsibility and technology and that kind of things, no? So we are going to speak firstly about robotics, education and technology future in general. Apart from being a cybersecurity analyst, I'm also a robotics teacher. I've been a robotics teacher either here in Granada, there in Madrid, and also in Switzerland. So I've been treating with a lot of kids from like 4 years old to 16 years old. So I got a lot of experience here, and I've learned a lot working with kids. And that's enriched me with my cybersecurity career too. So after that, we are going to speak about critics and how it's important to critique for technology. What are our newest responsibilities in the society right now? And let's learn how to dislearn. So first of all, robotics, education, and future in general. So actually, robotics is pretty important because we have the basics of computing and logic and stuff, and it's very tangible. When we see around us, we see robotics all the time. Maybe sometimes we don't really see it in a normal day, but if we are working through the streets and we go to the subway or, you know, only using our computers, we are touching technology so close. And kids are really understanding this so well, but they don't understand how it works. So the point of learning these kind of things is that teaching them that technology is not magic, because it's the base of our society right now. So if we are using technology for our education, or health, or work, and basically our daily life, it's very important to understand it's not magic. So I really try to teach them stuff, but in the end they are teaching me stuff. And there are some funny situations I've encountered in classes. For example, when I try to tell them what I do for a living, like I said to all of you, like I'm actually a hacker, they look confused and say, so hackers are like evil or not? And I'm like, well, kind of, but we are not. So I usually try to tell them that back in the 19th, the hackers weren't like the bad people. They were the people that were curious about technology, and that the life we are living right now is probably thanks to them. Also, once I taught them about Arduino. Maybe you are familiar with that, and with the Raspberry Pi. And when I showed them the Raspberry Pi, they were like, but this is like a computer, and we can do stuff like we are normal computer, but it's pretty cheap and also it's open. So there was this little kid, he was like 10 years old or so, and he was like, you were telling me that all the companies that create computers are trying to sell stuff that is so expensive for things that we can actually create ourselves, and it's more funny to create it. And I'm like, yes, everything is alive, welcome to the world. There's this another kid that I was teaching them about privacy and security, and how that we can use alternative stuff so we can feel safer in our daily technology life. And they were like, so Google is storing a lot of information about us. Is this even legal? And I'm like, well, yes it is. And they were trying to think about the daily things that they are using, and usually in the school or like in the families, they don't tell them to think about. So, okay. So this is my point here. Sometimes we are so into our society, into technology, that we forget to think about it. So if we really want to evolve, if we want to have a better society and have a better internet, we have to critique. Even if we have work for creating part of them, because if we are developers, or if we are analysts, or we are anything related to technology, we sometimes forget about to critique our own work. But it is important because we are the ones who are creating it. So we have a bunch of new responsibilities right now that we are actually forgetting about. So for example, when we think about our digital users, we have our nick. Some of us know each other for our nicks and not our real names. So we forget to think that our acts in technology or acts in the internet have a consequence in the real world. So, for example, right now there's a lot of influence of internet and security and such in the state. You know, for example, digital voting and that kind of things. And it is important to understand that we are not just users or just inhabitants of a country, but we are both, and we have to be responsible of what we do in both real life and digital world. As I said, we are technics, we work for technology, but we work for technology in a society. If we are creating something, either with functional programming or for cybersecurity or anything related with technology, we are creating it for people. So we don't have to forget that in the end, there are persons, the ones who are going to use it. So this is important to understand the ethics of what we are doing. This is important, for example, because if we think about these new apps that are appearing, for example, Globo or Just Eat and that kind of applications are really good because they make our life easier, but what are the implications of using that? So that's, for example, something that we might think about, but there's a lot of things related. For example, using data or storing information about users that might be easier for our application working, but we also have to think about how important is this information for the real people who are the final users. So yes, we are responsible for digital actions, either as a developer or as a user, because we are both. Right now, there are people that probably is using Twitter or any other, like Facebook or anything, to post pictures of this event, this speech, and that's good because that's the way we communicate right now, but we really need to think a bit of what we are using right now. We have a right of anonymity. Sometimes when I say this at work, my workmates says, "No, fuck you, it's just a mess," because actually it makes our work so much difficult. When we are trying to get an attacker or something for an application, anonymity and privacy makes our work more complicated. But there's also a point of empathy right here. And finally, we have the responsibility of security. Because, yes, we are the ones who work for your security. In my daily life, they send me applications and web pages and stuff that probably many of you are using right now. And they say me, well, attack it and try to break it. So no other one is going to do it for bad, you know, for stealing information of the users or money or something like that. So yes, that's true. That's my work. That's my workmates' work. but we also have responsibility of our own security. And actually, many of you that are working on technology are even more responsible because you really understand how technology works. So please don't rely all the security to us, because if that, the world is going to end so badly. So don't do it. So yes, we have to think about duality and our digital acts in order to understand how to create better applications and how to be a better inhabitant for our country and for the people who is around us. We really need to understand the context we are working on. And what do this have to do with kids? The presentation started being let's be kids. So because kids are so used to learn new things and they are not surprised of anything. So there's this time I was working with pretty little kids, like 5 years old or so, and there's this kid that asked me, "Where is an Arduino?" And I was like, "Where? It's like in a circuit and you can put LEDs and stuff." And she keeps asking me stuff about that, even more complicated. And yes, but why the electricity goes from here to here? Like 5 years old asking that kind of things. And I tried to tell them, and she was like, "Oh, I understand that." And I was, "Are you sure you're understanding that?" And she was, yeah. And actually she told me how would she create like an application with that, like very basic, but she understood the basics. And just a moment later she was like, "And what is this?" And I was like, that's our scissors." And she goes, "Oh, cute." So they could really understand what an Arduino is and what a scissors is at the same time, and that's probably something we are not able to right now. So let's understand that our context is different. Like probably, for example, we are living in a distributed system right now, because we think about our life like we have a very centered system that when we, for example, we buy something, and there's a bank that checks that we are really having that money and that kind of things. I'm not going to tell about blockchain right now, don't worry, I'm not going to speak about that right now. But I'm telling that internet is supposed to be distributed, internet is supposed to don't have walls at all, and that's pretty much fact right now because our system until now wasn't like that. So let's be kids and let's understand that there's something that we don't understand right now and we have to learn. And that's okay, because it could be difficult or not, but there are a lot of things that we have to learn right now. Also, as I said, anonymity is important because technology without empathy is nonsense right now. Probably we don't really need anonymity in our daily lives right now, but there's someone in another country or in another situation, an activist, a journalist, that probably does. So if we're thinking about internet as a community, we need to learn to take care of all of those people too. Not just because I'm a hacker and a cybersecurity analyst, or because you are a developer, but because you are a user. And we are part of a community, and that's important to understand. And finally, as I said, security. Please take care of your own security, even though we are there to take care of the things you didn't think about. But there's always attacks that we don't think about at work. There's always new ways to break stuff. So please take care of your privacy. Please take care of your cybersecurity. And that's actually something we will induce if we think about our context as before. So these are my suggestions. Please use functional programming to create new stuff, because when I say at work, "Why don't we use Haskell?" they really look at me like, no. And so please create stuff for cybersecurity, because I would really be happy to use them at work. Please use these suggestions to be more secure and more responsible at work. Thank you.